accustomed to hot things. But anyway, for the volume weighted average price. So firstly, what is volume weighted average price? The volume weighted average price is really simply a support and resistance line. But why is the volume weighted average price so nice? It's because it actually, it's to work it out, you are taking the price and volume. So as you know, we love to trade price action inside of Chart Champions, and we also love our volume statistics. So when we're looking at the delta, when we're looking at the volume supporting a rise, this is a lot, we've placed a lot of focus on volume, like supporting a rise. So to have a indicator essentially which is incorporating price and volume is just really strong. Okay, strong for us. So the volume weighted average price though is essentially a support and resistance level. Okay, and this is dynamic. When you're below the level, you expect resistance. When you're above the level, you expect support. Okay, so that's the simplified version of what it is. I've got so many examples for you, and then we can go over onto the chart on it. Just such a lovely indicator. But yeah, you can obviously, the reason why the volume weighted average price is a nice level is because there is a lot of volume that's transacted at this level. It does benefit scalpers that like to trade with bigger size. So let me give you an example. Let's say 1 week ago on Bitcoin, where the volume was extremely low. Okay, volume was extremely low last week. Obviously, it's picked up now because we're increasing in price. But last week the volume was extremely low. Okay, we were going sideways and sideways and sideways, and volume was dropping off and dropping off and dropping off as it does in a sideways range. So it's very difficult as a scalp trader to trade in those conditions. Okay, as you know. For me, last week it was difficult to scalp trade. You basically got like 1 or 2 trades a day, and that was it. Because if you try and trade with a lot of size in those conditions, you just have unreal slippage. Okay, the slippage is really bad, or you just cannot fill positions. So it's very difficult. So when you are buying off of a VWAP confluence, it's easier to fill bigger size because obviously that's where there's a lot of volume transacted. So you could use this to, obviously if you're an institutional trader or you're trading with a lot of capital, many of these types of traders are going to be looking towards the VWAP or for entries because of the fact you can almost like you can just get filled with little to not, obviously never say none, but little slippage because you are, it's a high volume level where there's been a lot of previous transacted volume. And that generally is going to be the case. Okay, so excuse me. It's basically a support and resistance level that is really favored by traders that use a lot of position size. I mean, if you are trading with 1,000 contracts, then it doesn't really matter where you enter. If you're trading with 7 figures, then you are really interested in the volume weighted average price. Okay, so it's obviously brilliant. This is at the moment. So I literally over the past 7 days, since this rise has been started. So basically, 7 days, Bitcoin's been in a trend. So trending markets, it's really, really nice. Obviously, you can use it in these sideways markets, but you get 1 trade a day. Where recently we've been seeing just so many trades off the volume weighted average price. It's just insane at the moment. It's just so amazing at the moment. As you know, like earlier in the week, I was giving hints of what I was doing on tonight's live stream. I was just giving examples, and then everyone was just like, "Wow, what is this?" Yeah, I think a lot of people were excited for tonight because I was showing them how well this has been working. It has been insane. Obviously, insane in a very good way. So, volume weighted average price. Let me just show you that this is it on TradingView. And volume weighted average price, you can use it in a few different ways. Okay, you can use it on a very high term time frame, such as a swing trader or position trader, and you can use it down on the 1 minute chart like I like to use it, okay, as a scalp trader. So I will say I only use this as a scalp trader. I do not use this that's a lie. Obviously, in my daily update sheet I give you the weekly VWAP every week, but every day, sorry. But I mean, I don't really, well, I guess it's because I just don't really trade such high time frames. But nevertheless, you can use it across all time frames. That's what I want to say. So this is a yearly VWAP. Okay, so this is the yearly VWAP that you see here. So high time frame VWAP is a very, very strong support and resistance level. Okay, when price is above the VWAP, it is above value, and when it is below, it is below value. To the left, this is the yearly VWAP, and you can just see how it supports the whole of the trend every time, bouncing, touching, bouncing, touching, bouncing. So it supports the whole of the move up until you lose the level and then it's resistance, and then you obviously got that big drop to 3k before you go up. Here it doesn't actually act as resistance, so you can say you would have definitely lost the trade trying to short this next touch of the VWAP. Okay, that's just part of the game as you go through, and then you get the retest, and again, that, just see how perfect it is. That literally was the very, very, very low before obviously we move up to 11k. So it's just a really nice position traders view of the market. Okay, so when you what I mean by this section here is when you are, for instance, where we are now, we can actually say we are above value, and for a position trader, okay, that is trading very rarely, they are going to not be so happy, to be honest, about buying so far away from the volume, you know, the average volume price. You could say that this is, you know, buying quite high, and so when price does dip down into it the next time, I would very much expect a reaction. Okay, just like here, when you get your first move away from it, you get a very strong reaction off of the level. Now we are very much trending upwards. You would expect this yearly VWAP to, next time it's touched, to get a very strong reaction. So the first time you start to touch this in a trend, one would expect, okay, a very strong reaction. Again, there's never 100%, because what I would have expected was this to have a bearish reaction. Okay, the first time you touch this level, you obviously would expect a rejection, but obviously the context behind this was, you know, we had just, you know, well, clearly see we were making higher highs and higher lows. There was no trend reversal at all during this moment in time. Okay, and it was also just a massive short squeeze. You short squeezed the whole way through it. So you know, context is very important. Why you didn't reject there, I don't think many people shorted this level. Okay, you go straight through it and then you get it and the retest. But I mean, I don't really use this on the high term timeframes like this. It's not a tool that I use. I just wanted to mention this to start with, that you definitely can use it for this if you know you like that. What I will say about this, by the way, is obviously I'm aware, you know, in the daily updates, you know, I give you the weekly VWAP every day, because that is a level that gets interacted with quite often, the weekly VWAP. So obviously this is a level that you really want to be aware of, because of the fact, you know, the weekly VWAP is a strong SR level, whereas this is obviously a yearly VWAP. So you're going to touch this, you know, a few times a year, whereas a weekly VWAP you obviously interact with. Just so you're aware, by the way, you have session VWAP, which is what I use for scalp trading. You can have daily VWAP, you can have monthly VWAP, you can have yearly VWAP, you can have quarterly VWAP, or you can have like a decade VWAP, or what you can also do is anchor a VWAP. Okay, and I'm going to give you examples of all of them tonight. Okay, well, actually I'm going to go through primarily the session VWAP tonight, because that's what I use, although I'll let you be aware of these other things, but I want to go over how I'm trading rather than just everything. So this is an example of the session VWAP. So what we can say here is when it's lining up with another confluence level, such as Fibonacci or point of control, I mean, it's just been crazy. Like this week has just been giving very, very nice trades. So this is the volume weighted average price. Again, it's taking, you know, the calculations were going from the price and the volume to come together to give us just a very strong SR level. Okay, and what you have is, for example, when you start a downtrend, when you're going from high to low, you're seeing confluence at each of these rises, which is just lovely, of, oops, my mouse gone, of a confluence of high to low CC on the VWAP rejection, high to low CC rejection, high to low. You obviously don't quite hit the VWAP here, but nevertheless a CC / support resistance flip, come back down, high to low CC on the VWAP, you come back down again. It's like when you see the fibs, like a CC fib in particular, but when you see these fibs on the VWAP in a trending market, it's just a very strong level. Okay, and you can see this is the session VWAP that I have here. Okay, if you have any questions, please save your questions towards the end, because it's likely that I cover some of your questions, by the way. But and this is the session VWAP that we can see here, just a very strong SR level. Okay, and here we see the session once again. And you can see how it just acts as a very nice resistance, support, resistance, resistance, back into support. Okay, it's just a strong SR level on these lower term time frames. And this is where I'm loving to trade it at the moment. And this is across in exo charts. And so recently, exo charts added this in. They never used to have, they never used to have the VWAP. And yeah, they recently have added this in. And since they've added it on exo, I think it's where I've really started just loving it, to be honest with you. And so I've been using it. I've been noticing it more because obviously I've always known what the VWAP is. But if I'm honest, I've never really used it so much in cryptocurrency. But since they've added it on exo, I've been using it more and more, and I've just found that it's extremely well, it's just so nice. So really what you can see is this here that I have highlighted, this bar is the point of control, by the way. But you can see how the level of the VWAP, which is this yellow line, is acting as support, and then you get a little SR flip off of the level, which is ultimately, I would have longed this level, which obviously results in a loss, to be honest. But then when you retest, it's again the point of control. This section here is the point of control on a VWAP. So here, when you have confluence with a VWAP and point of control, it's recently entering really nice trades. I'll be honest with you, because I've only recently started using this for cryptocurrency trading, I don't have the statistics that I would really like to share. I just don't have the statistics on this because for me, yeah, to be honest with you, like it's quite of a new thing that I've just started doing inside of scalp trading on Bitcoin. So I don't have the statistics to really, say that this is amazing back testing and everything. But I mean, recently I just really wanted to share this because it's just giving insane win rates lately. So yeah, that's the one negative part of this, that I haven't been testing it for years as I have other tools. So I don't have all of that information, but so far it's going extremely well, but nevertheless, this is all live action and what I'm showing you here. So yeah, when we're seeing it on the point of control in the VWAP, this is giving really great trades. Okay, so here we see another example where we have the VWAP with point of control and 6/6 confluence. So when we're going, sorry, I missed off the lows, but from highs to lows onto a CC, onto a point of control, onto VWAP, it's just giving a really nice trade. And you can see how the VWAP here is resistance, broken through. Again, I would have shorted this level, but you kind of get a drawdown off of the level, resistance into support, you break through it, and then you test it as support, you get another rise. So you can just see, we'll load up the charts in a second, but you can see how this is just, yeah, I'm loving it. Because if I'm honest, it's hard to, I'm just loving it because of the fact it is just a really strong level at the moment, so strong. So here we have another really nice example. Again, this is all from this past 7 days, where we are seeing resistance to support, to resistance. And here, what was really nice about this example is that this VWAP was also the weekly value area high. So again, we are only looking to trade this with confluence. We would never just buy or sell the VWAP on its own. But when we are seeing it with confluence, such as what in this example was the weekly value area high, we're seeing it in confluence with a point of control, with a Fibonacci level, okay? Maybe just something as simple as the order book. It's just giving very powerful trades, okay? That's what I would say. So this is another example, and this is a good one. Okay, so here we have the volume weighted average price with a support resistance flip with a liquidity level. Okay, the volume weighted average price is on top of the TPO value area high and the volume daily point of control below that level. Just so you're aware, I know that I'm going over some things I haven't covered thus far. TPO is definitely coming soon, but just so you're aware, this is the TPO point of control, by the way, not the volume point of control. But what I like about this is that you have the VWAP, the T point of control, and the daily point of control with volume, okay, basically on the level. Okay, and then you obviously have the daily value area low below you. So this is coming together, your TPOs, your volume, and an SR level and liquidity grabs just all in one. It's just hard to contain excitement when you see such levels, okay? So this trade was really interesting that I want to share with you here, okay? So as you can see, you kind of have this SR level for this, don't you? So resistance, support, resistance, broken through, back into support kind of thing, don't you? And what I mean by the liquidity grab, by the way, is this. So this last high, okay, the way that you take the high and then you come back down below. That's the liquidity grab that I'm on about, by the way. So it's little small moves like this, but they obviously add up over the course of the day. But what we are seeing there is the TPO, the volume and the volume weighted average price coming together to just give, well, you can see for yourself, like this is a live example, not handpicked or anything. That was literally when we were at 330, what, 4 days ago. Yeah, you can't make it up how good it's been. So this is the trade example that I wanted to show you here because of how we were trading it from, I think other people took the trade. So once it took that high down to the VWAP, okay? So you can see this is part 2. So this is a zoomed in version of this, okay? So on that bit, on that action there, you can see basically a $10 scalp trade for short from a micro support resistance to a, and you also had a bearish order book to the volume weighted average price where I switched long. So as you can see here, I like to show the orders just to, why not? Because this was literally a short from 9,442, which was on this candle here, the high, okay, which was from the small liquidity grab, to then taking profits 9,332, which was the volume weighted average price. On that, I did not switch long straight away, by the way. I actually then waited for us to get back above 9,942. Then I went into long about 2 minutes later. But what I wanted to emphasize on this is the fact we're scalp trading, okay? So as you can see here, that is a $10 move, which took from entry, okay, to exit about 10 minutes. 10 minutes for a $10 move. Sometimes this can literally happen in 1 minute. Sometimes it, here it takes 10 minutes. So when we're scalp trading, we are not holding trades for a long time. Obviously, the way that we're using our invalidation is once we have our reference level, if you enter the trade and it then gets above the reference level, you close out that trade, obviously, for a loss. So you have to be very much non-emotional when you're taking these trades. Seeing the trades, you already know when you're taking it where your exit is and, where you're obviously taking profit and invalidation. And the real emphasis that I'm using these when I'm trading off the VWAP here, the emphasis is I'm after, in the end closing out for $9.5 moves, sort of like single digit moves. So the trades are really, really, really small. But as you can see, getting in at limit, getting out at limit obviously helps with this. But yeah, this is the main, what I wanted to emphasize here, that a lot of these scalp trades, they're really, really, really small. But you take many of these $5, $10 moves and they obviously add up greatly over the course of the day. So if you take, for example, 50 $5 moves, okay, then you are, you get great profits by the end of it, basically. So I wanted to show you this, that, how you then can just see, trading off these levels, and it works really well, because by the way, that was a flip that led us up through 10K. But yeah, that was just an example that I wanted to give you. So I want to ask you all the question, as you know, that I am primarily trading this off of scalp trades. So I want to ask you this question. This is obviously our view of the chart here, and again, this is what it was like in the time. You have the volume weighted average price, and really we're focusing on the point of control here from the TPO chart and how it was confluenced with the volume daily point of control. So you're seeing TPO and volume coming together there, so that's a strong level. I want to ask you this question: how many trades do you see in this screen? If I showed you this, how many trades do you think there are here? Do you see one trade? Do you see maybe 3 trades? Okay, you might think high, low. Maybe you just see 2 trades here, high and a low. I mean, think about this for a minute. How many trades do you think have been taken from my perspective, okay, from scalp trading this for the day? How many trades do you see there? Okay, I want you to think about that for a second. I will now tell you. So this is what you call scalp trading, by the way. So from this chart, this is all of the trades taken. So I've designated this with winners and losers, and S for short, long for obviously long, L for long, sorry. So you can see for the original, so the volume weighted average price, how we go from a short, long, short, stopped out, because of the fact what you are seeing here is the top of the high, which is by the way also the value area high. So you see the value area high with the on top of the VWAP, again confluence, where you're seeing the resistance here, and you obviously get a short back onto the point of control for a long, back up to obviously trying to then short again if you're expecting then the range to continue here. You want to keep doing that. So again, shorting the next attempt, but obviously getting stopped out as it gets through. Then as it has stopped you out of the short, you then get the retest of the volume weighted average price to the dollar here. Okay, and you can see how it's a resistance support flip on to the highs. Why was this a short? Because it was 10k psychological. The first tests of big psychological levels like this, you generally expect rejections. As you know, we actually got through this in the end and we went straight to $11,000, which the first time it was tested got a rejection, but obviously you expected to get through on the second or third attempts at those psychological levels because they're not big. But anyway, you rejected there, and then you come back down to the volume weighted average price, where again you bounce off of it to the dollar, but because it doesn't hit any, it didn't for me anyway, didn't hit a take profit. Okay, you actually get stopped out of this one as you move back down to, once again, the old range that you were trading. The point of control, time and volume getting together for another move up. And again, we're then trading the range. This mini range, this is a mini range. So then you get up to the volume weighted average price and your confluence, where you've got a fib there, you've got the value area high, and you've got the volume weighted average price. For once more, oops, didn't try and do that, you got another short. Okay, back down to the long, back down up to the short, back down to the long, which obviously gets stopped out of. Okay, so stopped out of this trade as you go through the level. Okay, back down to the low. I'll explain this one in a minute because this was actually a swing trade, not a scalp. But anyway, you come back up to the level, which is your now support, 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 resistance. Obviously, I tried to short this, but we got through it, got stopped out. When you come back down to that level once more, though, you can take a long. And then obviously that was a short, back into the long, and we take off, and obviously that's that there, by the way. So that little candle that you see there, that obviously gave those two trades right there. Okay, so how many trades did you see in that screen? That was obviously a total of 15 trades. 15 trades. This is in a period of less, literally a few hours. So well, a little bit more than a few hours, but nevertheless not long. Okay, the same period of that trading, which gave 11 wins and 4 losses. Okay, so you can start to see here how we are trading those levels firstly with confluence. Okay, so firstly you're trading firstly you're trading them with confluence. Okay, so we're not only trading the volume weighted average price alone, but when you are seeing this confluence, it's just amazing. Like, I just can't explain how amazing it really has been these past 7 days. It's just been such a powerful tool for scalp traders. Okay, it just gives so many trades. Obviously, yeah, not every single one's won, but firstly the winners are bigger than the losers, and secondly it's given a lot more winners, okay, than it has losers. And this was just a lovely example of that. Okay, you can just see, just from a simple perspective, maybe even as a not even scalp trading, but day trading, if you just take each attempt of this without even trying to long or short any of the other areas, we can just see how perfect it is as that resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance, support flip. Just so powerful. And again, this is the session volume weighted average price. Okay, so then I had to add this one in because, as you know, that long for the swing trade that I have down here, you can see I just had to add this in because that was the low, by the way, that was longed, not taken out. So that $9,857 literally on the 26th of July at 21.00. That was the overall low, by the way, that led us up to $11,400. So that was an insane long trade that I took there, that obviously I was holding for that CME setup. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, that was, again, 16 trades, 12 wins, 4 losses on that one. Okay, and now this is yeah, you can see all that. So this is, again, the volume weighted average price, but this is now on a daily volume weighted average price, so a bit of a higher term time frame. Okay, so again, this is going to be a swing trader's view of the chart. Okay, so what does a swing trader like to do? Well, the swing trader, when price is above the volume weighted average price, they're going to be waiting for the retraces to this, likely, if they want to add on some volume into their trades, or not just volume, but also think that this is a fair value. So if this is above value, you could say, okay, we're clearly trending up here, but I don't feel so comfortable on a daily profile buying such a exaggerated volume. I want to buy back at fair price. Okay, so I'll buy when it gets back to fair price. Takes off again. Again, you're waiting, gets back to fair price. You take off again. As you can see here, fair price, takes off, fair price, fair price. Here you have levels through this. But honestly, as a swing trader, think about this. If you're a swing trader and you have an upward trend, you are not going to be getting stopped out at this point. Yes, you obviously get to it again to the dollar bounce, but when you come through this level, you're not invalidated by the trend, are you? As long as you hold these bigger, higher lows, okay, which is really from low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. As long as you're not breaking that bigger macro structure of your market structure, you're in no way invalidated. So by buying every retest of the level, you can see how it's very powerful for swing traders here. And again, this is the daily volume weighted average price. Okay. So what can we say about the volume weighted average price when it comes to this? What we can say is three things. It's a support, it's a resistance. When obviously if you're in a downtrend, it's a resistance. When it's in an uptrend, you've got a nice support there. And when you're on sideways, it's a support and resistance level. But what's the main thing that we're really looking for at this level? Confluence. So as with every tool, we are saying to ourselves, we never want to buy off this alone, okay? But we will buy it when we have a confluence. And again, unfortunately, I don't have the statistics at the moment because I need to build them up. But I can just say from what I've been using it recently is that it's working extremely well with other volume tools such as pointer controls, value area highs and lows. Okay, it's just literally a gold mine. it's just insane. And obviously it's really interconnected, isn't it? Because the volume weighted average price is based off of volume. Okay, it's obviously based off your transactions. So to get something that's combining the price and the volume, and then using it with volume statistics such as the value area high and pointer controls and value area lows, it's just yeah, I'm really loving this. So I'm really happy to share this one with you tonight. But yeah, I don't have the statistics built up yet, but I've got 1 week of statistics at the moment, but I like to have much more than that. But from backtesting it was pretty nice, but you can never really trust backtesting. I like to do it myself, like going into the future, but I have 1 week of it built up, and so far so good. But yeah, so does anybody have any questions for the volume weighted average price tonight? Okay, let me know your questions and I will load up the chart here a second. Okay, and I will show you what it looks like on our different perspectives over on TradingView. Okay, so if we just hide everything off this chart a second, just hide that, and yeah, what we'll do is put on the indicator, and it's called Vwap. So this is obviously our Vwap. Okay, and again, you can change this down onto different time frames. What we'll do is we'll zoom in here locally, and I'll just show you here. So since we really took off, again, this is looking at it on a weekly. So this is how I get the volume weighted average price on the weekly. You can really see how it's taken off, and since that uptrend started, you're seeing support, support, support. So thus far, since we've been trending, every time you had bought the retest of this level, it's worked as perfect support thus far. Okay, so you can just see how it's a really strong SR level, basically. What I want to do is flip this onto session. So this is where I'm primarily using it, and again, we are going to have to zoom in to lower term timeframes to see this. But what I wanted to show you was on that 26th. Okay, so on the 26th at the 9 p.m. low. Okay, that was that level that I defended there. And by the way, I just have to show you this. I'm pretty proud. But that trade that I showed you, that was literally the low before you moved up to 11,400. So what a swing trade idea that was, literally. But obviously my idea at first was to swing forward the low slightly, but because of the strength that you had initially, and it never swing forward, this is why laddered entries are really good, because if you had got that and then you add on a lot of size, I had to add on my bigger size higher up, but that's why you ladder into a position, and yeah, that's why you ladder. But you can even see here from the session, okay, once it really started the trends, how you then get it, support, again, a flip of the level, but support before you, and then you're obviously in a sideways period now. But this is on TradingView, okay, and in here you have session, week, month, year, decade, and century. Okay, I will show you this, by the way, because I think this is extremely valuable. What I really like about TradingView is that they have added in VWAP anchored to specific points. So let me try. I know I've got it loaded in here, so let's just turn on the VWAPs. So you can see here from the VWAP. Okay, so what I'm just trying to remind myself which section they've hit it in here. Volume weighted average price. Sorry, I should have reminded myself before we got onto here. I'm just trying to remind myself where they hide these tools. There you go, anchored VWAP. Let's just hide those a second. So the anchored VWAP. Okay, so this is basically, instead of like going off of the weekly VWAP or the daily VWAP or the session VWAP, basically this is an anchored VWAP to a particular point in time. So let's say you have a really big reference level, e.g. the low of the coronavirus drop, okay, the high of the range that you have just put in. These are really important things that have happened in the market. So it's taking from a specific point, and this is an extremely valuable tool when you can select a specific point in time and then you can see the average volume and price that's happened since that specific time. Well, it's not an average, but so sorry, that was the wrong word to say. It's not, it does not working out from an average. But when you can see that, you know, the volume and price coming together to give you the volume weighted average price of that. Obviously it's not a moving average, that's what I meant to say. It's not like taking anything from a close, it's taking it from the volume. But when you can select a particular point in time, well then it's just a really strong tool, okay? And not yeah, it's just a really strong tool, I suppose, when you are selecting a specific, you know, a specific level. And again, this is coming then down to a little bit of knowing a good level to select, I suppose. But for example, let's say we select the 20k high. You can see we will select the 20k high, and then you can see how this is then giving us a volume weighted average price of that exact day. Okay, so since that exact day, we've obviously had our volume weighted average price from these particular points in time. So this is just a really valuable tool to be able to select a particular event that's happened. So maybe a high at the moment, obviously it's not going to have done much, but you can see from like particular events that have happened like this, how then you are able to see, again, just a strong support and resistance line that's not becoming from an you know, a daily VWAP or a previous day VWAP or a daily VWAP or session VWAP or anything like that, but it's actually a particular event that's happened, maybe where the volume come in highly. Okay, so that's just a really valuable tool. And again, even TradingView only added that in about like 1 month ago, so these are like really new tools for TradingView. That's literally come on about a month ago. And ExoCharts, they've also recently added it. So yeah, for whatever reason, they both added it recently, and it's just a really nice tool, especially for scalp traders. So I've just been finding it very nice. So let me see if there was any questions about the VWAP work we had tonight. Let's see what we got. One second, just loading up the questions. I'm becoming accustomed to the honey. Let's go. So, questions. Hi. When you reclaim point of control, how do you enter? Limit at point of control retest or CC, even if it is CC, even if CC is back below point of control. So this is a good question. So when I suppose like let's say we break through the point of control, how would you look to enter? Limit at the point of control, retest, or CC, even if it is back to CC. So yeah, the way that I'm trading this at the moment is it is a mixture of market orders, and it is so I'm trading it market and limit, to be honest, some of these trades. But what I'm liking to do when it's these, so when I'm trading like $5 moves, I have to enter a limit. But so what you would like to do is it's a difficult question to answer, because obviously it's impossible to say it's always going to be on the CC or it's always going to be at, you know, below or above the point of control. So it's hard to give a really specific answer to this question, if I'm honest. But basically what you'd want to see is once you've broken above that VWAP, okay, so you've broken above it in this type of question, when you then are retesting that level, okay, let's say there is confluence with the daily point of control, then in my opinion, that is a good place to have a limit preset. It's a type of trade that you would expect the first time you retest that level, especially if you're in a trend, to find support. And in my opinion, from the, again, I only have 7 days of data for this, but I have been presetting limit orders on that for scalp trades, and it has been working, not every time, but it's working very well. Let's just put it like that. So to have it preset on this level, what I have been doing as well as presetting, if I'm after more than a $10 move, so if I'm after a move such as, you know, $50, then what I like to do is wait for it to hit that level, okay, get at least see a little bit of a reaction, and then just market buy in. And then I'm happy to pay the fees on the market order, because I'm after a move which has bounced off of a high volume, let's say high volume and the VWAP level. The slippage, firstly, because I'm market buying on the VWAP, the slippage is really, really small because we're seeing a lot of liquidity in the order books. So slippage is small, and again, I'm paying like 0.07% for a 0.75% for a market order. Like the fee is minuscule when I'm after a move such as $50. So if I'm after that type of trade, then I would wait for the reaction first, because I don't always like to preset orders. But as you can see from some of those examples I gave you today, for example, that $10 move from the liquidity run to the VWAP and then reclaiming the level, that was 3 orders at limit for literally $9 moves. But when you're trading sort of $5, $10 moves, you kind of have to use limit orders. But if you're after anything bigger than that, then obviously you can market order once you've seen the reaction, which is obviously a safer way to, you know, quote unquote safer way to trade with market orders like that. But limit at a point of control retest or CC. So so I hope that that's answered your question. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult to answer it because of the fact it's very, it's a bit of a difficult one to answer, because obviously you're never always going to see the VWAP on these levels. But I hope I've answered that. If not, ask it again. But I hope that's answered okay. So Kazar has asked, can you walk us through the 10,880 job you mentioned? That it was very technical. I'll go through Bitcoin at the end. Chris, if you look for the VWAP and fib confluence, are you primarily looking for a CC confluence or fib levels in general? So the way that I've been